Can you believe that? Someone actually called the cops on me just for locking them out of my own house. Yeah, that actually happened. Stick around because this story is wilder than you can imagine. Alright. So let me set the stage for you. Picture this: I'm chilling at home, just enjoying my day when suddenly I get a knock on the door. I open it and who do I see? An entitled mom, and trust me, she had that vibe written all over her. I mean, you know the type. The one that thinks the world revolves around them and their little ones. So I thought, okay, this could be interesting. But I had no idea just how crazy things were about to get. Buckle up, folks, because this is a roller coaster ride of entitlement, confusion, and of course a little bit of chaos. So here's the deal: I had just finished a long week at work, and I was ready for some peace and quiet at home. But out of nowhere, my neighbor's mom shows up unannounced. Now, just to paint a clearer picture, I barely know this woman. We've exchanged pleasantries in the hallway, but that's about it. And here she is standing at my door like she owns the place. She starts asking me if her kid can come over to play with mine. I mean, it's a nice thought and all, but I didn't even know her kid's name. So I politely tell her, hey, thanks for stopping by, but I think today's not a good day. But instead of taking that gracefully, she starts insisting, saying things like, oh, come on, it'll be fine. Kids need to socialize. At this point, I'm getting a bit annoyed. Trying to keep my cool, I tell her again, no, really, today is just not a good day, but she doesn't get the memo. Instead, she pushes her way in, and I'm standing there thinking, what is happening right now? Now I had to do something to regain my space. So I just gently close the door and lock it. I thought that would be the end of it, but oh boy, was I wrong. She starts banging on the door, demanding to be let in. I'm standing there like, are you serious? It was such a bizarre situation, and I knew it was only going to escalate from here. Alright, let me give you a little backstory on this entitled mom. So she's one of those parents who think their kids should have free access to everything, including my living room. I'd seen her in the neighborhood, and while she seemed friendly enough, there was always an air of entitlement about her. For instance, she would casually drop hints about how her kids should be included in every neighborhood activity, whether or not we even knew each other. But I didn't think much of it at the time. I mean, every neighborhood has those overly involved parents, right? But this was a whole new level. It felt like her expectations were sky high, and I was just this random guy in the neighborhood who owed it to her to entertain her child. I remember a time when she had asked me to babysit her kids out of nowhere while she ran some errands. I was like, no thanks, I've got my own kids to look after. Fast forward to the day of the door incident, and you can imagine how frustrated I was. I wasn't looking for a confrontation, just some peace and quiet. But here she was treating my house like a playground. And I think that was the tipping point where I decided, enough is enough. I wasn't about to let this woman walk all over me in my own home. Now here comes the absurd part. So after I lock the door, she goes full drama queen and pulls out her phone. I'm thinking, wait, what is she doing? Next thing I know, she's calling the cops. Yes. You heard that right, the cops. I'm standing there, jaw dropped like, is this really happening? I couldn't believe that someone would call the police just for locking them out of my house. When the cops arrive, I can hear them knocking at my door. My heart is racing. Do I answer? Do I just stay quiet? But I eventually decide to open the door and explain the situation. And as I'm talking to the officers, I can see the entitled mom standing there, arms crossed, looking smug like she's won some sort of battle. The officers are looking at me like I'm the one who's crazy for locking her out. I explained everything: how she barged into my space, how I didn't invite her over, and how I just wanted to keep my home peaceful. The officers exchanged glances, and I could tell they were trying their hardest not to laugh at the ridiculousness of the situation. They politely told her that she couldn't just show up uninvited and demand entry into someone's home. It was comical yet infuriating at the same time. In the end, the cops told her to leave me alone and respect my boundaries. I just stood there in disbelief, shaking my head at how far this had escalated. I mean, who would have thought that locking someone out could lead to a police visit? It was such a ridiculous situation that I couldn't help but laugh. After the officers left, I thought about how crazy some people can be, and how important it is to stand your ground. This whole experience taught me a valuable lesson about boundaries and how to deal with entitlement. I mean, I always knew that. Some folks think they can just walk into your life without an invitation, but this took it to a whole new level, and honestly, it made for a great story to share with you all. Call to action CTA. So what about you guys? Have any of you ever had an encounter with an entitled person that left you speechless? I want to hear your stories. So drop them in the comments below. And while you're at it, make sure you hit that subscribe button for more entertaining stories just like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.